Trump was shot, Biden is out of the race, everyone is falling out of coconut trees. Hi, if you're like me and are perpetually overwhelmed by the current political state in this country, but are too afraid of becoming totally apathetic to give up on politics altogether, then this video is for you. Today I'm going to indulge in my delusions, and I'm inviting you along for the ride. Welcome to my fantasy presidential nominee lineup. Hi, me from the future. Just a disclaimer, this is all for fun, people, okay? Jokes, silly haha, nothingness. The trash man is here. I don't know if you can hear that. Maybe you can. It's here to take me out. Anyway, it's not that deep, okay? I don't want to see any sort of political discourse in the comments. Not that I'm getting comments, but like, maybe one day. Ha 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 ha. Okay, anyway, moving on. Presidential pairing number 1, we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Weird Al Yankovic. Imagine the absolute flex it would be to have a 6'4", half-black, half-Samoan, former WWE wrestler be our president. I mean, can you imagine how he would look standing next to Putin or Kim Jong-un? What a fucking power move. And beyond that, he seems like a relatively genuine guy. For his running mate, I choose Weird Al because I think it's an odd choice, but a good choice. Like, if The Rock's massive build doesn't intimidate world leaders, he just summons Weird Al to play the accordion until they ask for a ceasefire. And look, if we have a bald president, we need a VP with luscious locks. I don't make the rules. Number 2, Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Mothman. I think this one is kind of obvious. We have a highly educated, well-spoken astrophysicist coupled with a mythological creature from Appalachia. Obviously, Neil would make a fantastic president with his vast amount of knowledge, charming demeanor, and willingness to explain things. All good qualities in a candidate. Having Mothman as his VP appeals to the less data-backed thinking of the general population and provides an air of mystery, fear, and overall menace to the presidency. I mean, both these individuals are American icons, right? What's not to love? Number 3, Mr. Beast and the Ghost of William McKinley. I want to say outright that I do not watch Mr. Beast's content, but he is arguably one of the biggest YouTubers out there, and I think many young voters would be inclined to cast their ballot for him. I do see him essentially turning a term in office into content for his channel, with videos like, I gave each of my friends a US territory to terraform into a real-life Minecraft server. Or, first person to eat the entire Declaration of Independence wins nuclear launch codes. But every night when Jimmy walks the halls of the White House all alone, he is haunted by the ghost of former President William McKinley, who tells him he will never be good enough at anything and never be half the president he was. Number 4, Lady Gaga and Shaq. Lady Gaga is here for the girls, gays, and theys, and I think she would make an amazing president. She's feisty, she's cool, she knows what matters, and isn't afraid to speak up on it. However, Mother Gaga unfortunately stands at a dismal 5'1". Nothing against the vertically challenged of the world, I'm just saying, from a visual standpoint, not the most intimidating. Which is why I have selected Shaq as her running mate. At 7'1", I don't think any world leader measures up to him. We've all seen the picture of Shaq holding the water bottle. That man is a titan. I mean, it would look just like that scene of Rafiki holding Simba in The Lion King. He's also sort of a gentle giant, and I think this combo really plays into that trope of golden retriever, black cat relationships, which is fun. Both Lady Gaga and Shaq take interest in the needs of underserved populations, and I believe that they would do well as leaders of this country. Number 5, Sean Evans from Hot Ones and Eric Andre. I think this could be the perfect yin-yang combination. Two interviewers with very different interview styles on the world stage. I mean, just imagine Sean Evans talking to Prince William about conflict in the Middle East while Eric Andre bursts in doing something insane. Every White House dinner would feature an obligatory plate of hot wings, and if a staffer couldn't handle the spice, automatic dismissal. It would be the most chaotic presidency ever, but like, at this point, I don't think that's too far from where we're heading anyway. So, number 6, Tyra Banks and RuPaul Charles. You want to be on top of the presidency? Well, you'd better sissy that walk, Mary. Imagine two of the cuntiest, most judgmental, and intense TV personalities in history becoming a part of the political world. They'd be less president and VP and more like co-presidents of the country, because I don't think their egos would let them be second to one another. Their elegance, cold blank stares, and attitude would absolutely shake up the stale politics of the US. Congress would present some sort of asinine bill to them, and if they didn't like it, they would just look the whole room up and down and purse their lips until someone said something. The clacking of heels down the hallways of the White House would send shivers up the spines of staffers and politicians alike. So, we have our presidential nominees. Who's actually going all the way? The Rock and Weird Al versus Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Mothman. As much as it pains me to admit, I don't think The Rock and Weird Al have a chance against a literal astrophysicist and a cryptid. Neil deGrasse Tyson would definitely outsmart them. And while The Rock is strong, I think the Mothman has an unlimited supply of dark energy and power that I don't think any human could measure up to. So for this round, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Mothman take the win. Mr. Beast and William McKinley versus Lady Gaga and Shaq. I mean, I think this one is pretty obvious. Lady Gaga and Shaq would get the votes. I honestly think Mr. Beast would bow out, considering his running mate is a literal ghost. And I think he'd be very happy going back to a life of filling his backyard full of Orbeez or creating a hostile work environment for mediocre television. Sean Evans and Eric Andre versus Tyra Banks and RuPaul. This one is tricky because they both bring a sort of deranged energy to the race. I think the duo that is Eric and Sean maybe is a little too unbalanced for the presidency. Sean Evans is very even-tempered, and Eric is not, which may lead to some internal friction. At least Tyra and RuPaul sort of bring the same intensity all the time. And the voters appreciate consistency. So this round goes to Tyra and RuPaul. That leaves us with a three-way matchup of Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Mothman versus Lady Gaga and Shaq versus Tyra Banks and RuPaul. This is interesting. Ultimately, I think Lady Gaga and Shaq cover a wider voter base. No offense to Tyra and RuPaul, but I feel like their main demographic is sort of the same.
Gay.
At least with Shaq on the ticket, they would get the theater kids and the jocks, if you get what I'm saying. So, we are left with Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Mothman versus Lady Gaga and Shaq. While I definitely think Lady Gaga and Shaq would win the popular vote, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Mothman would sweep the Electoral College. And for that reason, my fantasy presidential nominee is Neil deGrasse Tyson and his running mate, Mothman. Long live the scientist cryptid political combo! Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this silly little video of mine. Let me know who you think would win out of these choices, or come up with your own choices. I don't know. This is all for fun. Nothing is real. I don't want to think about anything that's happening in this reality anymore. So, yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, or don't. I don't care. Live your life.